A lesson from the book of Exodus. In those days the children of Israel came to Elim, where were 12 wells of water, and 70 palm trees, and they encamped there by the waters. And they took their journey from Elim, and all the congregation of the children of Israel came unto the wilderness of Sin, which is between Elim and Sinai, on the 15th day of the 2nd month after their departing out of the land of Egypt. And the whole congregation of the children of Israel murmured against Moses and Aaron in the wilderness. And the children of Israel said unto them, Would to God we had died by the hand of the Lord in the land of Egypt, when we sat by the flesh pots, and when we did eat bread to the full. For ye have brought us forth into this wilderness, to kill this whole assembly with hunger. Then said the Lord unto Moses, Behold, I will rain bread from heaven for you, and the people shall go out and gather a certain rate every day, that I may prove them, whether they will walk in my law or no. And it shall come to pass that on the 6th day they shall prepare that which they bring in, and it shall be twice as much as they gather daily. And Moses and Aaron said unto all the children of Israel, At even when ye shall know that the Lord hath brought you out of the land of Egypt, and in the morning then ye shall see the glory of the Lord, for that he heareth your murmuring against the Lord. And what are we that ye murmur against us? And Moses said, This shall be when the Lord shall give you in the evening flesh to eat, and in the morning bread to the full. For that the Lord heareth your murmurings, which ye murmur against him. And what are we? Your murmurings are not against us, but against the Lord. And Moses spake unto Aaron, Say unto all the children of the congregation of the children of Israel, Come near before the Lord, for he hath heard your murmurings. And it came to pass, as Aaron spake unto the whole congregation of the children of Israel, that they looked towards the wilderness, and behold, the glory of the Lord appeared in the cloud. Dominus vobiscum et cum spiritu tuo, sequentia sancti Evangelii secundum Ioannem. At that same time much people that were come to the feast, when they heard that Jesus was coming to Jerusalem, took branches of palm trees and went forth to meet him, and cried, Hosanna, blessed is the King of Israel, that cometh in the name of the Lord. And Jesus, when he had found a young ass, sat thereon, as it is written, Fear not, daughter of Zion, behold thy King cometh, sitting on an ass's coat. These things understood not his disciples at the first. But when Jesus was glorified, then remembered they that these things were written of him, and that they had done these things unto him. The people therefore that was with him when he called Lazarus out of his grave, and raised him from the dead, bear record. For this cause the people also met him, for that they heard that he had done this miracle. The Pharisees therefore said among themselves, Perceive ye how he prevail nothing? Behold, the world is gone after him. Exorcizo te creatura florum Belfrondium, in nomine Dei Patris Omnipotentis, et in nomine Iesu Christi Fili eius Domini nostri, et in virtute Spiritus Sancti, provende omnes virtus adversarii, omnes exigitus diaboli, omnisque potestas inimici, omnes incursio Daemonum, eradicare et expectare ab hac creatura florum Belfrondium, ut ad Dei gratiam festinantium vestigia, insineando non assequaris, da eum qui venturus est judicare vivus et mortus, et saeculum per iniam. Amen. Oremus. Omnipotent sempiterne Deus, qui in diluvie effusione noe famulu tuo, per os columbae gestantes ramum olivae pacem terris reditam nunciasti, te supplices deprecamu, od hanc creatorum florum et frondium, spatulasque palmarum suae frontes arborum, quas ante conspectum gloriae tua offerimus, veritas tua sanctificet et devotus populus, in manibus sucipiens eas, benedictionis tuae gratiam conseque meriatu. Per Christum Dominum nostrum. Amen. Oremus. Deus cuius filius pro soluti generis humani de celo descendet ad terras, et propinquanti ora passionis sui Hierosolimam in asilo sedemus venere, et turbes rex appellare et laudare voluit. Augi fidem in te sperantiam et supplicum precit clementa exaudi. Veniat super nos quesmus Domini benedictio tua, ut hos palmarum ceterarumque arborum ramus benedicere dignare, ut omnes que eus lature sunt, benedictiones tuae dono repliantur. Concedi ergo Domini sic ut Hebreorum pueri Hosanna in excelsis clamantes iude Filio tuo, Domino nostro Iesu Christo cum ramis palmarum occurrerunt, itaque nos arborum ramus gestantes, cum bonus operibus socorramus opiam Christo, et perveniamus ad gaudium septem, per undum Christum Dominum nostrum. Amen. Oremus. Deus qui dispersa congregas et congregata conservas, qui populis opium Christu Iesu ramus palmorum, portantibus benedixisti, benedicatiam aut hos ramus palmarum ceterarumque arborum, quos tui famuli ad nominis tui benedictionum fidelitas succipiunt, ut in quecunque locum introducti fuerunt, tuam benedictionum habitatores siglos loci, omnis consequentur, ita ut omni adversa valetudine effugata, dextra tua prodigat quos legemit. Per undum Dominum nostrum Iesu Christum Filium tuum, qui tecum vivit et regnat in unitate Spiritus Sancti Deus, per omnia saecula saeculorum. Amen. Dominus vobiscum et cum spiritu tuo. Oremus. Domini Iesu Christi Filii Dei vivi, mundi contitor redemptor, qui nostrae labораtionis et salvationis gratia ex sumus celi ace descendere, canum sumere et passionum subere dignatus es. Quique spontis propria loco eustum passiones appropinquans, a turbis cum ramis palmarum obedientibus benedice laudare, et rex benedictus veniens in nomine Domini, clara voce appellare voluisti. Tu nunc nostrae confessionis laudatio acceptare, ut has palmarum ceterarumque arborum ac florum ramus, benedicere et sanctificare dignaris, ut quicunque in tue virtutes obsequio exinde aliquid tolerit, celeste benedictionis sanctificatus, peccatorum remissionum et vitae aeternae previa pecce perenniatur, per te, Iesu Christe salvatur, qui cum Patri et Spiritus Sancto vivus et regnat Deus per omnia saecula saeculorum. Amen. Pueri Hebreorum, dolentes ramus olivarum, obia verunt Domino clamantes, et decentes, Hosanna in excelsis. Pueri Hebreorum, vestimenta prostae levanti in via, et clamabant dicentes, Hosanna filio David, benedictus qui venit in nomine Domini. Gloria laus et honor tibi sit, res Christi redemptum, cui pueri dedicus, promsitus anapium. Gloria laus et honor tibi sit, res Christe redemptum, cui pueri dedicus, promsitus anapium. Israel est rex Davidis et inclita proles, nomine qui in Domine rex benedicte benis. Gloria laus et honor tibi sit, res Christe redemptum, cui pueri dedicus, promsitus anapium. Cetus in excelsis te laudat celitus omnis, et votalis homo, et cuncta creata simum. Gloria laus et honor tibi sit, res Christe redemptum, cui pueri dedicus, promsitus anapium. Plebs Hebrea tibi, cum palmis obia venit, cum precebutur hymnis assumus ecitibi. Gloria laus et honoris sit, Rex Christe Redemptum, cui puerile decus, promsitus anapibus. Et redientem Domino in sanctam civitatem Hebreorum pueri resurrectionem vitae pronuntiantem, cum ramis palmanum, Hosanna clamabant in Cumque audis et quia venit Iesus Hierusalima, exierunt opiam ei, cum ramis palmarum, Hosanna clamabant in excelsis. Limiti spiritum tuum et coelum tuum, et renovatis patientiae. Oremus, Deus qui omnico passit domus voluntas loquis loquenum datis secretum, purificat salvatiam in sancti spiritus cogitationis tuis nostri, perfectete diligio digna laudare. Perdona nostrum in Christum fidem tuum, ut tecum vivus et regnatio in Tatis Spiritus Sancti Deus, per omnia saecula saeculorum. Amen. In triba latare Dei, ad inculitifica juntutem heum. Benedictus et fructus ventris Sanctus et aqua, in nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Kyrie eleison, Christe eleison, Kyrie eleison. Pater noster, Christe Jesu, per benediction tuum, per nostra signum cielo et terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum nobis hodie, et dimitte nobis debita nostra, sicut et nostrum debitores nostros. Ave Maria, gratia plena Dominus tecum, benedictus mulieribus et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Et ne nos inducas in tentationem, sed libera nos a malo. Confitemi Domine conium bonus, conium secum misericordia eius. Confitio Deo Beata Maria et omnibus sanctis, peccare nimis cogitatis et locutis opere, mea culpa. Praeco Sancta Maria, et omnes sanctus Dei, orare pro me. Miserere nostrum in vitiamus Deus, et dimette Domine peccatum nostra, et libera nos a omne malo. Conservat et confirmis in bono et vitam persecuta aeternam. Amen. Absolutum et remissimum peccatorum nostrum, spatium vere penitentiae et immundatum vitae, gratiam et consolatium Sancti Spiritus, prevat nobis omnipotens et misericordia Dominus. Amen. Adiutorium nostrum in nomine Domini, perpetuit celum et terram, sit nomen Domini benedictum, ex hoc nunc ut usque in saeculum. Oremus, aucre nobis crucimus Dominus, per Christum Domini nostrum. Amen. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Domine, ne longe facies auxilium tuum a me, et defensionem meam aspice libera me de ore leones et cornibus uniconium humilitatem meam. Deus meus respice in me, quare me de reliquisti. Domine, ne longe facies auxilium tuum a me, et defensionem meam aspice libera me de ore leones et cornibus uniconium humilitatem meam. Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison. Christe eleison, Christe eleison, Christe eleison. Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison. Dominus vobiscum et cum spiritu tuo. Oremus. Omnipotens sempiterne Deus, qui humano genere ad imitandum humilitatis exemplum, salvatorum nostrum canum sumere et crucium severe ficisti, concede propitius ut et patientiae ipsius habere documenta et resurrectionis consortium mereamo. Per Dominum nostrum Iesum Christum filium tuum, qui tecum vivus et regnat in unitate Spiritus Sancti Deus, per omnia saecula saeculorum. Amen. Lectio Epistolae Beati Pauli Apostoli ad Philippenses. Brethren, let this mind be in you, which was also in Christ Jesus, who being in the form of God, thought it not robbery to be equal with God, but made himself of no reputation, and took upon him the form of a servant, and was made in the likeness of men. And being found in fashion as a man, he humbled himself, and became obedient unto the death, even the death of the cross. Wherefore God also hath highly exalted him, and given him a name which is above every name, that at the name of Jesus every knee should bow, of things in heaven and things in earth, and things under the earth, and that every tongue should confess that Jesus Christ is Lord, to the glory of God the Father. Genuis meum dextra meum, et in voluntate tua deduxisti me, et cum gloria subsisti me. Quam povus Israel Deus rexis corde, me autem penimoti sunt pedes, bene effusis sunt grassus me, quia telabi in peccatoribus pacem peccatorum videns. Deus meus respice me, quare me dereliquisti, lancia salute mea verba delictorum meum. Deus meus clamabu per diem, nec exaudies et nocte et non als incipientiam mihi. Tu atum in sancto habitas laus Israel, in te spera verunt patres nostris, spera verunt et liberaste eius. A te clama verunt et salvi facti sunt, in te spera verunt et non sunt confusi. Ego autem tum vermis et non homo, opprobrium hominum et abjectio plebis. Omnes qui videbat me aspernabantur me, locuti sunt labies et moverunt caput. Speravit in Domino olipiat eum, salvum facet cum eum aponiunt eum. Ipsi perro consideraverunt et conspexerunt me, diviserunt sibi vestimenta mea, et super meam miserunt sotem. Libera me di ore leonis et conibus uniconium humilitatem meam. Qui tu metis Dominum laudate eum, universum sermon Jacob magnificate eum. Annunciabitur Domino generatio ventura, et annunciabunt celi justitiam eius. Popolo qui nascetur quam fecit Dominus. Dominus vobiscum, et cum spiritu tuum, passio Domini nostri Iesu Christi, secundum Matteum. At that time Jesus said unto his disciples, Ye know that after 2 days is the feast of the Passover, and the Son of Man is betrayed to be crucified. Then assembled together the high priests and the scribes and the elders of the people unto the palace of the high priest, who is called Caiaphas, and consulted that they might take Jesus by subtlety and kill him. But they said, not on the feast day, lest there be an uproar among the people. Now when Jesus was in Bethany, in the house of Simon the leper, then came unto him a woman having an alabaster box of very precious ointment, and poured it on his head as he sat at meat. And when his disciples saw it, they had indignation, saying, to what purpose is this waste? For this ointment might have been sold for much and given to the poor. When Jesus understood it, he said unto them, why trouble ye the woman, for she hath wrought a good work upon me? For ye have the poor always with you, but me ye have not always. For in that she hath poured this ointment on my body, she did it for my burial. Verily I say unto you, wheresoever this gospel shall be preached in the whole world, there shall also this, that this woman hath done, be told from memorial of her. Then one of the 12, called Judas Iscariot, went unto the chief priests, and said unto them, what will you give me, and I will deliver him unto you? And they covenanted with him for 30 pieces of silver. And from that time he sought opportunity to betray him. Now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus, saying unto him, where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat Passover? And he said, go into the city to such a man, and say unto him, the Master saith, my time is at hand. I will keep the Passover at thy house with my disciples. And the disciples did as Jesus had appointed them, and they made ready the Passover. Now when the even was come, he sat down with the 12, and as they did eat, he said, verily I say unto you, that one of you shall betray me. And they were exceeding sorrowful, and began every one of them to say unto him, Lord, is it I? And he answered and said, he that dippeth his hand with me in the dish, the same shall betray me. The Son of Man goeth as it is written of him, but woe unto that man by whom the Son of Man is betrayed. It had been good for that man if he had not been born. Then Jesus, which betrayed him, answered and said, Master, is it I? He said unto him, thou hast said. And as they were eating, Jesus took bread and blessed it and brake it, and gave it to his disciples, and said, take, eat, this is my body. And he took the cup and gave thanks and gave it to them, saying, drink ye all of it, for this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins. But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine, until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom. And when they had sung an hymn, they went out into the Mount of Olives. Then said Jesus unto them, all ye shall be offended because of me this night, for it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad. But after I am risen again, I will go before you into Galilee. Peter answered and said unto him, though all men shall be offended because of thee, yet will I never be offended. Jesus said unto him, verily I say unto thee, that this night before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. Peter said unto him, though I should die with thee, yet will I not deny thee. Likewise also said all the disciples. Then cometh Jesus with them into a place called Gethsemane, and saith unto the disciples, sit ye here while I go and pray yonder. And he took with him Peter and the 2 sons of Zebedee, and began to be sorrowful and very heavy. Then saith he unto them, my soul is exceeding sorrowful, even unto death. Tarry ye here, and watch with me. And he went a little further, and fell on his face, and prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thou wilt. And he cometh unto the disciples, and findeth them asleep, and saith unto Peter, what, could ye not watch with me 1 hour? Watch and pray, that ye enter not into temptation. The spirit indeed is willing, but the flesh is weak. he went away again the second time, and prayed, saying, O my Father, if this cup may not pass away from me, except I drink it, thy will be done. And he came and found them asleep again, for their eyes were heavy. And he left them and went away again, and prayed the third time, saying the same words. Then comes he to his disciples, and saith unto them, Sleep on now, and take your rest. Behold, the hour is at hand, and the Son of Man is betrayed into the hands of sinners. Rise, let us be going. Behold, he is at hand that doth betray me. And while he yet spake, lo, Judas, one of the 12, came, and with him a great multitude with swords and staves, from the chief priests and elders of the people. Now he that betrayed him gave them a sign, saying, Whomsoever I shall kiss, that same is he, hold him fast. And forthwith he came to Jesus and said, Hail, Master, and kissed him. And Jesus said unto him, Friend, wherefore art thou come? Then came they and laid hands on Jesus and took him. And behold, one of them which were with Jesus stretched out his hand and drew his sword and struck a servant of the high priest and smote off his ear. Then said Jesus unto him, Put up again thy sword into his place. For all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Thinkest thou that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he shall presently give me more than 12 legions of angels? But how then shall the scriptures be fulfilled, that thus it must be? In that same hour said Jesus to the multitudes, Are ye come out as against a thief with swords and staves for to take me? I sat daily with you teaching in the temple, and ye laid no hold on me. That all this was done, that the scriptures of the prophets might be fulfilled. Then all the disciples forsook him and fled, and they that had laid hold on Jesus led him away to Caiaphas the high priest, where the scribes and the elders were assembled. But Peter followed him afar off unto the high priest's palace, and went in and sat with the servants to see the end. Now the chief priests and elders and all the council sought false witness against Jesus, to put him to death, but found none. Yea, though many false witnesses came, yet found they none. At the last came 2 false witnesses, and said, This fellow said, I am able to destroy the temple of God, and to build it in 3 days. And the high priest arose, and said unto him, Answerest thou nothing? What is it that these witness against thee? But Jesus held his peace. And the high priest answered and said unto him, I adjure thee by the living God, that thou tell us whether thou be the Christ, the Son of God. Jesus saith unto him, Thou hast said. Nevertheless I say unto you, hereafter shall ye see the Son of Man sitting on the right hand of power, and coming in the clouds of heaven. Then the high priest rent his clothes, saying, He has spoken blasphemy. What further need have we of witnesses? Behold, now ye have heard his blasphemy. What think ye? They answered and said, He was guilty of death. Then when they did spit in his face and buffeted him, and others smote him with the palms of their hands, saying, Prophesy unto us, thou Christ. Who is he that smote thee? Now Peter sat without in the palace, and the damsel came unto him, saying, Thou also wast with Jesus of Galilee. But he denied before them all, saying, I know not what thou sayest. And when he was gone out into the porch, another maid saw him, and said unto them that were there, This fellow was also with Jesus of Nazareth. And again he denied with an oath, I do not know the man. And after a while came unto him they that stood by, and said to Peter, Surely thou also art one of them, for thy speech betrayeth thee. Then began he to curse and to swear, saying, I know not the man. And immediately the cock crew. And Peter remembered the word of Jesus, which said unto him, before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice. And he went out and wept bitterly. When the morning was come, all the chief priests and elders of the people took counsel against Jesus to put him to death. And when they had bound him, they led him away and delivered him to Pontius Pilate, the governor. Then Judas, which had betrayed him, when he saw that he was condemned, repented himself, and brought again the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and elders, saying, I have sinned in that I have betrayed the innocent blood. And they said, What is that to us? See thou to that. And he cast down the pieces of silver in the temple and departed, and went and hanged himself. And the chief priests took the silver pieces and said, It is not lawful for us to put them into the treasury, because it is the price of blood. And they took counsel and bought with them the potter's field, to bury strangers in it. Wherefore that field was called the field of blood unto this day. Then was fulfilled that which was spoken by Jeremiah the prophet, saying, And they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of him that was valued, whom they of the children of Israel did value, and gave them for the potter's field as the Lord appointed me. And Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor asked him, saying, Art thou the King of the Jews? And Jesus said unto him, Thou sayest. And when he was accused of the chief priests and elders, he answered nothing. Then said Pilate unto him, Hearest thou not how many things they witness against thee? And he answered him to never a word, insomuch as the governor marvelled greatly. Now at that feast the governor was wont to release unto the people a prisoner, whom they would. And they had then a notable prisoner called Barabbas. Therefore when they were gathered together, Pilate said unto them, Whom will ye that I release unto you, Barabbas or Jesus, which is called Christ? For he knew that for envy they had delivered him. When he was sat down on the judgment seat, his wife said unto him, saying, Have thou nothing to do with that just man? For I have suffered many things this day in a dream because of him. But the chief priests and elders persuaded the multitude that they should ask Barabbas and destroy Jesus. The governor answered and said unto them, Whether of the twain that will ye that I release unto you? They said, Barabbas. Pilate said unto them, What shall I do then with Jesus, which is called Christ? And they all say unto him, Let him be crucified. And the governor said, Why? What evil hath he done? But they cried out all the more, saying, Let him be crucified. When Pilate saw that he could prevail nothing, but that rather a tumult was made, he took water and washed his hands before the multitude, saying, I am innocent of the blood of this just person. See ye to it. Then answered all the people and said, His blood be on us and on our children. Then released he Barabbas unto them, and when he had scourged Jesus, he delivered him to be crucified. Then the soldiers of the governor took Jesus into the common hall, and gathered unto him the whole band of soldiers. And they stripped him and put him on a scarlet robe, put on him a scarlet robe. And when they had plaited a crown of thorns, they put it upon his head, and a reed in his right hand. And they bowed the knee before him and mocked him, saying, Hail, King of the Jews! And they spit upon him, and took the reed, and smote him on the head. And after that they had mocked him, they took the robe off from him, and put his own raiment on him, and led him away to crucify him. And as they came out, they found a man of Cyrene, Simon by name. Him they compelled to bear his cross. And when they were come unto the place called Golgotha, that is to say, a place of a skull, they gave him vinegar to drink mingled with gall, and when he had tasted thereof, he would not drink. And they crucified him, and parted his garments, casting lots, that it might be fulfilled which was spoken by the prophet. They parted my garments among them, and upon my vesture did they cast lots. And sitting down they watched him there, and set up over his head his accusation written, "This is Jesus, the King of the Jews." Then the two thieves crucified with him, one on the right hand and another on the left. And they that passed by reviled him, wagging their heads, and saying, "Thou that destroyest the temple and buildest it in 3 days, save thyself. If thou be the Son of God, come down from the cross." Likewise also the chief priest mocking him with the scribes and elders said, "He saved others, himself he cannot save. If he be the King of Israel, let him now come down from the cross, and we will believe him. He trusted in God, let him deliver him now, if he will have him. For he said, I am the Son of God." Thieves also, which were crucified with him, cast the same in his teeth. Now from the 6th hour there was darkness over all the land unto the 9th hour. And about the 9th hour Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, "Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani?" That is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?" Some of them that stood there, when they heard that, said, "This man calleth for Elias." And straightway one of them ran and took a sponge and filled it with vinegar, and put it on a reed and gave him to drink. The rest said, let us see whether Elias will come to save him." Jesus, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost. Pater noster, qui es in cielo, sanctificetur nomen tuum. Adveniat regnum tuum, qui voluntas tua sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum da nobis hodie et nobis vita nostra, sicut et nos dimitimur debitores nostris. Et ne nos inducas in tentationem, sed libera nos a malum. Amen. Ave Maria, gratia plena Dominus tecum, benedicta tu in mulieribus et benedictus fructus ventris tui, Iesus. Amen. Tuo Domini, cum Spiritum meum. Vedimus Domini, Deus veritatis. And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain from the top to the bottom, and the earth did quake, and the rocks rent, and the graves were opened, and many bodies of the saints which slept arose, and came out of the graves after his resurrection, and went into the holy city, and appeared unto many. Now when the centurion and they that were with him watched Jesus, saw the earthquake and those things that were done, they feared greatly, saying, Truly this was the Son of God. And many women were there beholding him afar off, which followed Jesus from Galilee, ministering unto him, among which was Mary Magdalene, and Mary the mother of James and Joseph, and the mother of Zebedee's children. When the evening was come, there came a rich man of Arimathea, named Joseph, who also himself was Jesus' disciple. He went to Pilate and begged the body of Jesus. Then Pilate commanded the body to be delivered. And when Joseph had taken the body, he wrapped it in a clean linen cloth, and laid it in his own new tomb, which he had hewn out in the rock. And he rolled a great stone to the door of the sepulchre, and departed. And there was Mary Magdalene and the other Mary sitting over against the sepulchre. Now the next day that followed the day of the preparation, the chief priests and Pharisees came up together unto Pilate, saying, Sir, we remember that deceiver said, while he was yet alive, After 3 days I will rise again. Command therefore that the sepulchre be made sure until the 3rd day, lest his disciples come by night and steal him away, and say unto the people, He is risen from the dead. So the last error shall be put worse than the first. Pilate said unto them, Ye have a watch, go your way, make it as sure as ye can. So they went and made the sepulchre sure, sealing the stone and setting a watch. Credo in unum Deum, Patrum omnipotentem, Factorum Caeli et Terrae, visibilium omnis invisibilium, et in unum Dominum Iesum Christum Fium Dei unigenitum, et ex parte nationati omnia saecula, Deum de Deum lumen de lumine, Deum parum de Deo paro, Gerentum factum consistantiarum patria pequam omnia factus sunt, qui pater nos hominis et propter nostrum salutum descendet de Civis, et incarnatus est Spiritus Sancto ex Mariae Virgine, et fermo pactus est. Crucifixus etiam pro nobis tu Ponti Pilatus, passus et sepultus est. Et resurrectio tertii dies secunt scripturas et census in caelum, sedet ad dextram Patris, et iterum venturis est cum gloria judicare vivus et mortuus cruis rodinum reit finis. Et in Spiritum Sanctum Dominus vivificantem, qui ex Patre Filioque procedis, qui cum Patre et Filio sum adorator et cum glorificatum, qui locutus est per profitas, et unam sanctum catholicum apostolicum ecclesiam, confite unum baptismam remissionem peccatorum, et expecto resurrectionem mortuorum, et vitam ventura saeculi. Amen. Dominus vobiscum et cum spiritu tuo. Oremus. Eripit me, de nemicis meis Domine, a te cum fugge. Docem me placeo et voluntatem tuam, quia Deus meus est tu. Exaudi me in tua justitia, et ne intres in judicium conservatur Domine. Sicinatum, ordinatum, et sanctificatum, moxa Christum, in nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. Orate Patris et Soravus pro me, quis me impartitur vestum accetum situm in nostro sacrificium. Spiritus Sancti gratiam ut comuna Flavia mea, et accipi donis dimi hoxa Christum adis manibus meis, propicats principibus nostris. Oremus. Ipse meis Pate Tui Domini fidelis populus cum Deo gratio, quae per filium Tuum Dominum nostrum Iesum Christum reconciliabit inimicus, qui tecum vivit et regnat cum Deo Patre in unitate Spiritus Sancti Deus, per omnia saecula saeculorum. Amen. Dominus vobiscum et cum spiritu tuo, sus in cordo habemus ad orum, gratias egamus Domini Deo nostro, dignum et justum est. Beredini metius domesticum et salutarinus tibi semper ubique gratias aucere, Domine Sancte Patroni potens aeterni Deus, qui salutum humani generis in lineo crucis constituisti, ut unde morto reabatur inde vita resurgeret, et qui in lineo vinceret, in lineo pulcri vinceretur per Christum Dominum nostrum, per quem maestatem tuum laudunt antre donum dominationis tuum potestatis, Celi celorumque virtutes ac beatus arcum subject exultationem concelebant. Cum quibus a nostras vocis ut dimitibus de peccamo, supplici confessione decentes. Sanctus, 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 Dominus Deus Sabaoth, Deus in cielo et terra, gloria tua, Hosanna in excelsis. Benedictus qui venit in nomine Domini, Hosanna in excelsis. Deus proclamatis me pater Deus in Christum filium tuum Dominum nostrum, Dominus aspectus. Uti accetta habis benedictus, hic nomina, hic sancta sacrifici elevata. In primis quitibio promus pro ecclesia tua sancta catholica, quam pacificare custodere adunare regio et divinis tota operatorum. Unicum familo tua archiepiscopo nostro Marco, et astin nostro Damian, et regina nostra Elisabeth, et omnibus orthodoxis atui catholicis pastoris et ibi cultoribus. Momentum Domini famam pomque tuam. Et omnium circumstantiae cum tibi fidis finis morte devocio, pro quibus tibi paramus valco tibi paramus sacrificationalis, post Iesus pluribus proventiarum nostrum, post Petrus et infinitas sui et pluribus aeternum Deo vivo et verum. Communicantis in memoriam Panaristis promiscuensis and probation parations which is Dei Domini nostri Iesu Christi. Sed beatam apostolum Martium tuum, Petro et Pamphia, Jacobianus Jacobi Philippi Bartholomew Matthias Misteri. Linie Cletica Metis et Fecundalia Circulum, Supis Opinimus et Paracos Nerdavium Sanctum tuum. Quorum Ecce Specialis Bucedes in Nomis Protectionis tuum in Auxilio. Per unde Christum Dominum nostrum. Amen. Ancucitur operatio necessis nostra sedatum community perfectum liberty cipias. Disque nostrum passis paras et crebitum donatis nostra vici et in electum tuum biblisque primari. Per Christum Dominum nostrum. Amen. Quam operatio tribulation omnibus Christus, benedictam et scriptam, Latin Latin perpetuities, which nobis corpus et sanguis spiritualitis spiritu Domini nostri Iesu Christi. We pray quam persuadetur cepitarum sanctis et donatus stanis suas. Et elevatus opus in caelum et Filium Patrum supplicantens, Dei gratias atum benedicit, squadit, dedit qui discipulis dicens. Accipite et mandicate ex hoc omnes. Hoc est idem corpus meum. Sed multiples continuatum percipiens in praetem calicines in Isabellabus monstrum. We think to be gratias atoms, benedictit, dedit qui discipulis tui dicens. Accipite et bibite ex eo omnes. Hic est in calix sanguinis meam, novi et iterum testamenti, mysterium fide, qui pro vobis et promotis et indetur in remission peccatorem. Hic potis concup charitis, in me memoriam praecitis. Und in der Dominus Salutius et Patrius Sanctus Christi Filius Domini nostri capite passionis non adiutus resurrectionis sed in celis resurrectionis operamus proclaim stati tui et Christum status nostrum tuum nostrum sanctum nostrum immaculatum
Doamne, să-mi complicate în stare și în stare să păcăciune. Super perfecția și a învățăscut și diminești aceste hădare, sigur de aceste hădare Dumnezeu să nu mâncă de stare, să fie simplu noastră hădare. Et cotilie autoris misteris tuus magis de exemplu sacrucium maculatum constians. Super de stare Deus amicem Deus, iubi hecatonum, samicum celestium, beata cum perfectum lumina perfectum. Which book what eight God, participation of sanctification. Corpus sanguinis and sonum benedictionem celestium gratia reclamo. Verandi Christum Domini nostrum. Amen. Memento et in Domine Famulum, Famulum Cotantum, Spus Sanctim Filii Dons and the Paces. Estis Dominus Sanctum Christi Creationibus Loco Lucere, which is the basis of the Buddhist Peccatum. Verandi Christum Domini nostrum. Amen. Novus Quoque Peccatoribus Famus Tuus Dominus Miseratum Transpaspus. Pater Marco Pranatus Ratum Margines. Punto Sanctus Vossus in Martyribus, Mignorum Stefano Martyr Valico in Martyr Salvo. Marcelina Petro Crucitatica Petra, Agata Lucia Anita Finis Dust, Domine Sanctus Tuus. Intercol nos consulti nostrum Martyr Maritis, Fini Christmas Nocturnite. Pe Christum Domini nostrum, pe quem hecum vidomus semper benefias, sanctificas, publicas, benedicis et prestus nobis. Deusum, et cum et so, et in ipsus, Deo Patrem Potenti, in unitatis Spiritus Sancti. Omnis honor et gloria. Per omnia saecula saeculorum. Amen. Oremus, protectis salutaribus moniti, et divina institutione formati, audemus dicere. Pater noster, qui es in celis, sanctificetur nomen tuum, adveniat regnum tuum, fiat voluntas tua, sicut in cielo et in terra. Panem nostrum quotidianum nobis hodie, et dimitte nobis debita nostra, sicut et nos dimittimus debitoribus nostris. Et ne nos inducas in tentationem, sed libera nos a malo. Amen. Libera nos quis nos omnibus nostra, Deus, sanctus et virtuos, et in identitate glossus nostris virtum Deum virtumae, Symbios apostolus tuus Petra, Paulus, cum Virgum Munus Sanctus. Appropricis Patrem Deus nostris, Spiritum Misericordiae Filiae, gratia sunt Sancta Liberi, et abunde perpetuation secundum. Verandum Domini nostrum is in Christum Tuum, Utecum Vita Pregnatio Unitatis Spiritus Sancti Deus. Per omnia saecula saeculorum. Amen. Pax Domini sit semper vobiscum, et cum spiritu tuo. Agnus Dei Catoris Peccatum Mundi, miserere nobis. Agnus Dei Catoris Peccatum Mundi, miserere nobis. Agnus Dei Catoris Peccatum Mundi, dona nobis pacem. Ex hoc sanctificamus corpus et sanguis Domini nostri Iesu Christi, fiat mihi omnibus quae summis corpus et misericordiae per Christum Domini nostrum. Amen. Domine sanctificatum et Domini
Erobiscunt et reverentur timum, qui gratulantur males meis, induantur pudore et reverentia, qui maligna loquantur adversum me. Pater, si non potestic calix transire libem idem, fiat voluntas tua. Dominus vobiscum et cum spiritu tuo. Oremus. Fidelis tuos quaesimus Domini benignus intende, ut sua redemptionis initia recolentes, quorum bonare sunt reflecti, eorum propitianti clementis. Per Dominum nostrum Iesum Christum fidem tuum, qui tecum vivit et regnat in unitate Spiritus Sancti Deus, per omnia saecula saeculorum. Amen. Dominus vobiscum et cum spiritu tuo. Benedicamus Dominum Deo gratias. Lati tibi sit sanctus Benedictio Dei omnipotentis, Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti, descendat super vos et manet semper. Amen. In principio ad verbum, et verbum ad Deum, Deus ad verbum, hoc erat in principio ad Deum. Omne productum factus sunt, sine factum est luce corporatum est. Et ictua vitae erat et vitae luxamus in tanibus luce et tanibus non comprenderunt. Poetumus est Deo criminationis, et clavis in testimonium per Deum in presente illum. Non erat ille luxe testimonium per Deum, erat so claratur illum in planum haminum venientum modum. In modo erat et modus productum factus testimonium sium cum nobis. In propria venis et sunum acciparum, quod quadratum acciparum tegnis et Deis post classum fius Deis fili, quisque credit nomine eius qui non excellibus nequis monta dicanis, nequis monta de vere selectio nostri sunt, et verbum caro factum est et habitavit in vobis, et visimus gloriam eius gloriam proficientia Patri, predum gratiae et veritatis.